Welcome to the 10-minute series of videos related to competency-based programs. My name is Madeleine Bazurgi from the Office of Academic Development at Dawson College, and I'm pleased to present Developing a Competency Using a Holistic Approach with examples. If you recall from a previous presentation, competencies can be formulated as objectives related to discrete actions with weak or non-existent links between them, or as a cumulative process where each action builds upon the next, such as the case of a cognitive process or a procedure. The cumulative type of competency can be developed either with an analytical or piecemeal approach or a holistic approach. This is the subject of this video. Since the target of instruction in competency-based programs is the development of competencies, we'll adopt a competency point of view at first. A holistic approach to developing a competency, whether in a single course or a series of courses or even a set of courses, lends itself well to a competency-based pedagogy where a competency is developed integrally in a family of situations. In a holistic approach, the competency is developed as a whole in different situations, either at different levels or by adopting different lenses, or even both. Let's take a look at some examples. In this example, use programming languages where a student analyzes a problem, writes the computer code, makes sure there are no bugs, and then implements a test plan. The elements describe a cognitive process. The outcomes of each objective are needed to pursue the following objective. If this competency is developed holistically, all the elements are addressed in a single course or a series or a set of courses. In this fictitious example, where a program wanted students to have an overview of different programming languages, they decided to develop 00Q2 over 4 courses. Each of the courses would address algorithms, writing code, debugging, and testing the program, but from a different lens or programming language. In this case, each of the courses must address the objectives and standards integrally. The other way to develop a competency holistically is to scaffold the learning from one learning period to the next, but where students exercise the competency at different levels from beginner to advanced and finally to mastery. A competency can be developed holistically in a single course as well. The only difference is the learning period. Instead of a course, units become the learning period associated with different lenses or the scaffolding of learning. In this model, the first 3 courses can establish introductory, intermediate, and advanced level criteria for judging the progress of students. But the competency is considered achieved at the mastery level at the end of the last course of this series of courses. And the evaluation will measure the achievement of the objectives at the level described by the performance criteria. But what does the mastery of this competency look like for this model? How can we attest to the achievement of a competency developed holistically in more than one course? If all 4 courses must develop the competency integrally at the performance level indicated by the criteria, how can we reconcile the fact that if a student meets the competency in one of the courses, they must still take the others? Well, that is because the program deemed that to develop this competency in more than one programming language, it takes 240 hours. And it's important to make a clear statement that the competency is considered achieved if a student passes all 4 courses, provided, of course, that each final evaluation is summative and integrative in nature. Much like a competency whose elements are discrete tasks distributed to many courses, the competency can be considered achieved when all the courses are passed. This model is common in the social sciences. I will follow up with an example. I like to think of the holistic competency development approach as a way to give students an opportunity to exercise the competency within a family of situations. Whether the competency is exercised at different levels as knowledge and skills are scaffolded, or developed from different lenses, or even both within a learning period. Let's try another example. Here is a social science competency 0A&A, analyze human realities through a more in-depth study from the perspective of a social science discipline. It is developed using a holistic approach in each of the 3 courses the revision committee decided to implement. Each social science discipline develops this competency from their disciplinary perspective. Students must choose 3 from a set of 40 courses to achieve this competency. For example, students can choose an Indigenous history course to analyze the realities of Indigenous people from a historical perspective, or from a political lens. Similarly, other human realities can be analyzed from their respective disciplinary lens. Each teacher must develop learning and assessment activities that ensure students meet the objectives at the performance level described by the criteria. The program should make clear that to achieve this competency, students must pass all 3 courses, because it was deemed by the program that it will take 135 hours to develop this competency in a variety of disciplines. Here's a last example of a nursing competency to use assessment and nursing care procedures. The nurse must perform an assessment of a client, provide appropriate care, and chart the data. This competency can be developed analytically or holistically, but by developing a competency in a family of situations, it gives students the opportunity to practice exercising this competency several times before it is considered achieved. The student can exercise this competency integrally in different contexts and situations, each time being evaluated at the appropriate level. Here's an example that illustrates well the idea of using both holistic competency development models. The competency, use assessment and nursing care procedures can be developed in 4 courses, each focusing on one area of care. But within each of the courses, we can also put students in simple to more complex situations where the competency is exercised at different levels throughout the course and at the mastery level by the end of the course. Once again, the program must make clear that students are expected to exercise the competency integrally in all situations, but that it takes 4 courses to truly achieve the competency. Now that we've examined the 2 types of competencies and how they can be developed over 1 or more courses, I could better answer some of your burning questions with respect to assessment and competency-based programs, especially in career programs where several competencies are being developed at the same time, either partially or fully, in a course. It will be important to know the why, the what, the when, and the how you are assessing. In the next videos, we will tackle those questions. Thank you for your attention, and please stay tuned for the next presentation.